This episode was recorded on 21st of November 2025.
Today we are joined by one of the most famous, influential and most highly decorated writers in the world.
I started making notes on The Handmaid's Tale, but then I thought this is too bizarre, even for me. Nobody will believe it. So you look at what is happening and you think, you write what-if novels. So what if it goes this way? On the other hand, what if it goes that way? I'll say none of your business as many times as I wish. We began publishing as poets. We were writing fiction, but that's different. Writing something and publishing something are two different things. And the other sexy thing at that time was ankles. Do you know the story of Treasure Island?
No. The backstory?
The backstory.
No, I don't.
Here's the backstory of Treasure Island.
Please
It's
go.
very encouraging.
No way.
Yes, way. I remember everything.
Welcome to Alles gesagt or All said, the never-ending podcast that runs until our guest decides that everything has been said. Today we are joined by one of the most famous, influential and most highly decorated writers in the world.
That's right.
Margaret Atwood. The voice you just heard belongs to Christoph Arment, editorial director of Die Zeit.
And this voice, of course, belongs to Jochen Wegner, the editor of Die Zeit.
Editor and research by Hannah Schraven, Sophia Hubel and Vincent Mank. And before we begin, Margaret, there's just one little rule in this podcast. It doesn't end. So unless you explicitly want it to end, all you have to do is to say a final word. You choose yourself. So please tell us the word. You can say it once and never again until the end of the podcast.
I have to rethink it. I was going to say polar bear, but we might want to talk about polar bears.
We could touch that. We could touch that topic.
Highly not
Okay.
recommended.
Yeah,
Okay,
maybe
my word is a German word. It's the funniest word for English speakers, and it's Fußpilz.
That's
Oh,
perfect.
that's perfect.
That's perfect. I mean, so we're starting this conversation. I'm going to talk about your life a little bit in a few moments, but when you arrived to the studio, we started talking before we started recording, and you were talking about your knowledge of the German language, because actually you not only studied German, you've also lived in West Berlin for a while.
Oh, I did, yes, and I've traveled quite a lot because I've always had wonderful German publishers. So they took me to lots of different cities, including Hamburg and München and Leipzig. Recently, we went to the Leipzig Book Fair.
Yeah.
It was cosplay day. We went
It always is.
dressed up.
Yeah, that's Leipzig for you.
Is it?
Yes.
Nowadays, yes. Well, all of these were very hard for me because they were wearing costumes from German television shows. So I didn't know what they meant. I saw a woman in blue with big white deer antlers on. Is that familiar to you?
Deer had, in generally, yes. The show, not at all. So don't worry. So, I mean, but you've also studied the German language, no?
Yes, I began in high school. It was too far to go home for lunch.
Yeah.
So we German students brought our lunches in paper bags, and we studied during the lunch hour. And our teacher was a Bulgarian,
Really?
and our French teacher was Polish. So other people might find that curious, but so it was in the 50s. There were lots of different language speakers in Toronto.
So you might have a Bulgarian-German accent.
Or just a bad one.
But you do speak a little bit German, don't you?
Ja, das kann ich. But mostly I read. So reading is easy. Lesen ist einfach. Speaking is more difficult, and writing is really difficult.
But the way you just pronounced lesen is einfach is just perfect. So,
thank you.
So you're reading books in
Vielen
German?
Dank.
You're reading books in
I
German?
like to read fairy tales in German.
The Brüder Grimm.
Yes, but also I've just read a book called Bavarian Fairy Tales.
You read Bavarian
really?
fairy tales in German?
Yeah.
And what are these Bavarian fairy tales
They're often
all
quite
about?
funny. Shall I tell you one?
Yes, please.
All right. There was a traveler, sort of a tramp type of person, who was getting quite cold, and he didn't have any woolen stockings. But he came upon a man who had been hanged, who had very nice woolen stockings.
You were saying that these stories are funny.
Well, just wait. It will be funny later on. But these stockings were frozen to his legs, so he couldn't get them off, this hanged man. So he cut the legs off, and he put them in his knapsack.
It's going to be funny at some point,
Later,
right?
yes. I think it's pretty funny already, but I have a bizarre sense of humor.
Yeah.
So he comes to an inn, and he says, "Could I just please sleep in your kitchen overnight? Because it's quite cold out." And the innkeeper says, "Yes, you can. You can sleep in the kitchen beside the stove, but we have a very disagreeable and aggressive cat that is quite large. So if you don't mind that, you're welcome to stay." So he goes into the kitchen. Everybody else goes to bed. He takes the legs out of his knapsack and
I know what happens. I know what happens.
and leans them up against the stove to
Yes.
thaw them out so he can get the stockings off. And he wakes up early in the morning before anybody else is there, and he takes the stockings and he puts them on and he leaves, but the legs are still there. So the innkeeper and his wife get up in the morning and they go into the kitchen and they say, "Oh no, the cat has eaten him, all but the legs."
That's a fantastic
This is a Bavarian fairy tale?
I've never heard about it, but
No.
it's great you telling
Folktale,
us.
yes.
Yeah. Special. It's a very,
There are quite
this
a few about cats.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah. But
I have a collection of folklore and fairy tales, so of course this was a great addition.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't appear in the Brothers Grimm.
That's right, because it's Bavarian. They were Hessian. Huh? They were like from the mid of Germany.
I think it may have been too frivolous for them, although there are some jokes in their stories too.
Do you have a favorite fairy tale by the Brothers Grimm?
I think I have a couple. One is a variation on the Bluebeard story, and one is called the Juniper Tree, and it's the one in which the soul of the murdered little boy reappears in the form of a beautiful bird.
Right.
Would you like me to tell you that one?
Yes,
Of course.
if we have time.
Yeah.
You have
Fairy
time.
Tales by Margaret Atwood. Welcome to the show.
You know that the Brothers Grimm changed some wicked mothers into wicked stepmothers because they couldn't tolerate the idea that a mother could actually be that wicked.
Yes.
Bad name for stepmothers. I resent it.
So we have to stay in Berlin for just a little moment, because when I was preparing for this conversation, I found out that you were actually starting to write your most favorite, most popular book that's been turned into a movie by Volker Schlöndorff, but also into a very, very popular TV show many decades later, The Handmaid's Tale, in West Berlin, actually on an old typewriter.
Well, it wasn't really old. It was a German electric typewriter, but it had a German keyboard.
Right.
That wasn't helpful, was it?
Oh, it was all right because I can't type. I have to look.
But
So
in
if
German,
I
so
had
it's
been
really
an-
complicated if you have to change in your mind the keyboard. If I have to
but
use
as
an
a-
English keyboard,
yes,
it's
if
a
I had
nightmare.
been a touch typist, it would have been much more difficult.
Yeah.
So you were
Well,
going one by one, one
yes.
letter by one. and how come? So, I mean, you went for the DAAD program, right?
Day.
Yeah,
No.
in 1984.
Yo.
Yeah.
What was it like arriving for you from Canada in West Berlin in 1984?
Yes. I had been to Germany before.
Right.
But I had not lived in West Berlin before.
Mm-hmm.
And mostly before the wall came down, we went to other parts of Germany.
Mm-hmm.
It was a time when West Berlin was quite empty.
Mm-hmm.
much emptier than now, and apartments were quite cheap.
Right.
So they could get these apartments.
Where did you live? Do you remember?
Akademische Ausdienst.
Exactly.
Exactement.
Exactement.
Oh, yes. We lived on Helmstedter Straße.
Helmstedter Straße. So.
It's quite near the middle.
Yeah.
And we had an apartment that they supplied.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see a picture of me taken by Isolde Olbaum.
The famous literary photographer.
Famous literary photographer. She's very good. She's made many collections of writers, looking usually quite serious.
Very German.
Well, you know.
It's always, many writers always have their hands in their faces.
Do you know why?
I don't know.
Why?
It's to hide their double chins.
You don't have any, so there was there was nothing to hide.
Yes, so also they sometimes are shown very pensive. And I have some photos like that too, but the one in the day apartment is a profile, so it's working.
Right.
It's me actually working at this typewriter where I started typing my manuscript, which, of course, was in my handwriting. And that is sometimes a hazard because my handwriting is quite bad. So sometimes I have to think, what is this word?
You can't read your
What
own.
did I mean? Could it be this? Could it be that? Yes.
So in 1984, you come up with the idea of writing that novel?
No, I came up with
before,
it earlier.
Yeah.
I started thinking about it just after Ronald Reagan was elected. And the religious right began its rise as a political force.
Yeah.
So a friend of mine who was Polish and had escaped from both the Germans and the Russians as a child, ended up in Canada and, of course, was very aware of dictatorships. Said to me, do you know what these people are saying? And I said, no. What are they saying? She said, well, they're saying that women must be put back into their homes. Remember, this was after a decade of second-wave feminism in which women had won all sorts of outlandish rights.
Yes, the
such
70s.
as the right to have a credit card and bank account, bad things like that.
I like your humor.
I'm just telling you the truth. So she said, are you aware? And so I started to be aware. And my question to myself was, if the United States were to become a dictatorship, what kind of dictatorship would it be? No surprise, it would not be communist. That would never have enough support. I thought, could it be that it could be a liberal democracy dictatorship? And I thought at the time, surely not. I'm changing my mind a bit about that.
Lately, yeah.
Yes. But I was well aware, being the age I am, of the steps that dictators take on their way to power.
That's right.
So my first question to myself when Donald Trump got elected for the second time is, who will be knifed during the night of the long knives? Because there's going to be one. So now we know some of those answers. So I started making notes on The Handmaid's Tale, but then I thought, this is too bizarre, even for me. Nobody will believe it. The wall was still up. It was still the Cold War.
That's right.
America was the land of liberty, freedom, Statue of Liberty, open democracy, and all those things. And surely it would never, ever, ever, ever go that way. But being Canadian and having studied American history from the 17th century on, I was not so sure.
And how do you look at Donald Trump and the USA today on this Friday, November 21st,
He's in trouble.
So
His regime is in trouble at the moment for several different reasons. One is he promised that money would fall from the sky, and instead it's going down the toilet. He promised that he would fix everything and solve everything, and he has not done that. And he co-opted the evangelical Christian church which is now beginning to realize that they were conned, particularly because of the Epstein files, which has been a real problem for the Republican Party. And he opposed opening them. He really strongly opposed. He attacked everybody who advocated it, but the open them up side has won. So once that happens, helium starts going out of the balloon.
Is that your feeling at the moment?
Yes, it's not just my feeling. It's the feeling of a lot of other people. But the United States political system is very opaque to a lot of other people. They don't understand it at all. And even a lot of Americans don't understand it. But every 2 years, so a presidency comes in, and 2 years later there's something called the midterms. And in the midterms, a lot of seats are up for election or re-election. And right now, the Democrats are leading in the midterms polls.
Right, next year, right?
It is next year.
Yeah.
It is almost exactly a year from now, a little less. So at the beginning of his presidency, the Republicans were ahead. But now they're not, and they know this is a problem. And because of the elections that we just had there, the special elections for governors and replacements and people like that, which were swept by the Democrats, they are beginning to realize that maybe having Trump endorsing them is not a tippity-top good idea. So once that happens, if you look at history and who deserts the ship and who suddenly changes their mind and who was never in favor of it in the first place and who only did it because they were threatened, then you see cracks beginning to form. And when this character called Marjorie Taylor Greene turns against Trump, that's a big danger flag. So he will try very hard to get these people unelected, but I don't think he will succeed.
Many people think that you kind of predicted the future in many of your novels.
I don't predict the future.
I know.
Because there isn't one, the future. There are many
possibilities. Yes.
So you look at what is happening and you think, you write what-if novels. So what if it goes this way? On the other hand, what if it goes that way? And there are always unexpected things, which could be an earthquake, 2 planes flying into the Twin Towers, things that nobody would have thought about ahead of time, that then happen and they change the course of history.
But you sort of sound surprisingly optimistic.
Well,
about possibilities that might turn the American history towards the positive side again.
Americans are very optimistic people. And why would they vote for somebody that says, I will make money fall from the sky and I'll fix everything? It's because they're so optimistic. They believe somebody can actually do this. So if you are a cynic, you think, oh, come on. Nobody can do that. But if you're a hopeful person, you think, oh, goody, everything will be fixed. And all of these dictatorships, when you come to think of them, they come in as utopias.
We've made this historical experience in Germany in the 20th century.
Yeah, it was a utopia. People have forgotten that. It began as a utopian vision. Everything was going to be better. And that is how the 17th century New England colonies began.
And that actually inspired you for The Handmaid's Tale.
Well, of course, because here is a regime that says everything's going to be better. And people who say it's broken and only I can fix it should always be suspected.
Now, my job in this podcast is to introduce you to our listeners, although you don't have to be introduced to anyone anymore. But the reason why you're in Germany and you've been touring the UK and France and Canada, you're going back to Canada, I think you've been to New York and Chicago, is the fact that you've written a absolutely beautiful, funny, witty, wise and honest memoir that I can only recommend to everyone who hasn't read it. It has just come out in Germany. When you've read it as well, it's just fantastic.
No? I was laughing a lot because you gave so we read everything before we do a podcast like this. And you said 10 years ago, 20 years ago, I'll never write a memoir.
Exactly.
Never, ever.
Never.
That's the one thing I'll never do, write a memoir. So why at all did you write?
Let me quote Robertson Davies, this unfortunately now dead Canadian author who wrote Fifth Business. And he had written some early novels, and then he hadn't written any novels. And then he suddenly burst forth with this novel, Fifth Business, when he was 60. And in it he put, I'm sharing this with you, his rather horrible mother. So when asked why he had suddenly written a novel, he said two words. He said, people died, which means two things. Number one, the dead can't sue.
Good point.
And
neither can their estates. And there might be people that you might wish to write about, but whose feelings you don't want to hurt.
Yeah.
But once they're dead, you don't imagine that you're going to be hurting their feelings a lot. I think they have other things to think about.
In your memoir, I mean, just to put a simple fact in this conversation, you were born on November the 18th in 1939 in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. So that's just after the Second World War started.
Exactly.
A very precocious time in history.
It was.
And your father was an entomologist.
Yes.
So an expert for insects.
Little bugs.
Yes.
Little bugs.
Well, forest infestations. Okay, so there are 3 insects that cause big infestations and kill a lot of trees, and that's what he was doing. And he was doing it with the Canadian government. And let us point out that forest products were a big part of the war effort. Because at that time, what was Canada making? It was making wood. It was making metals, various kinds.
Yeah.
And it had not yet really hit the oil patch. That happened later. So it was, mining was big and so was forestry. So he was considered an essential part of that. He actually wanted to be a pilot, but that didn't.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. But the fact that his profession was what his profession was turned your life in the very early years upside down, because you lived out in the nature for months and months and months.
Of course.
How do you remember those months out there in nature with your family?
Oh, most of the year. So there was something called spring breakup. That's when the ice all of a sudden cracks and then it breaks up and flows away. So we would go up before that happened. And sometimes we would go down the lake to where we lived on a sledge on top of the ice.
What?
So quite cold. And then in the fall, when the weather got really cold, we would go back to Ottawa because insects do nothing at that time of year.
Right.
So during those times in Ottawa, and I only ever remember it covered 4 feet deep in snow because I was only ever there in the winter, it is the second coldest national capital in the world.
Thank you for reminding us.
Yeah, well, it's not Berlin. It's not even Moscow. It's Ulaanbaatar. So yeah, pretty cold. And lots of snow and ice. Not so much these days, because you know why. But that was our life. And why was he even doing that? He came from an extremely backwoods, very, very, very backwoods location in Nova Scotia. I don't think they had electricity till 1959. So I was able to see a small farm working the way it would have done in the 19th century. So the cow, the little field of alfalfa, the kitchen garden, the chickens, the wood stove, the making the butter yourself, and the smokehouse. They smoked things in the smokehouse.
Your parents were both born at the beginning of the 20th century.
Yeah, 1906 and 1909. And just to place it for you, Simone de Beauvoir was born in 1909.
Okay.
Can you imagine her speed skating? You cannot.
Probably not surviving in Nova Scotia.
At all. No, not at all.
Actually, there's a picture in your book of your parents in the woods.
Absolutely.
Beautiful couple.
Yeah. So my father, growing up where he did, was also a builder. He could build things.
Yeah.
Everybody from that background could. Yeah. And he was also what I called an old bushy guy. So he was an expert in surviving in the wilderness. He was very good with an axe. And a lot of his friends, both from Canada and the United States, were similar old bushy guys. So
and what was your mother like?
My mother was what we call a tomboy. So she loved riding horses. She had 2 of her own. This was not typical for her family. Her father was the country doctor, and of course he had a horse. This is before automobiles. And he would go to people's houses in his carriage, his buggy in the summer on these terrible roads, and in the winter on a sleigh. So this is olden days. They had telephones, but not anything else. She just loved being outdoors.
Right.
And my father saw her when they were both going to a school that taught you to be in one-room schoolhouses as teachers. He saw her sliding down the main banister and said to himself, "That is the woman I will marry."
And he was right.
He put a lot of effort into it.
Oh, good for him.
She turned him down the first time. And I said, "Why did you turn him down?" And she said, "I was having too much fun."
That's a good reason, actually.
Yeah, she was having quite a lot of fun.
She was also called Margaret.
Yes, and that's why I had a nickname as a child.
Peggy.
Yes, that is a Scottish diminutive. And also Irish. You don't hear it that much in England. So yes, I therefore had two names. And when I came to be a writer, I had this other name that I'd never used that I could fall back on as my nom de plume and other personality.
Would your mother be called a feminist today, or was it just the kind of lifestyle these days in that area of...
I think in that area of the country, you were not thinking of Simone de Beauvoir as strict bourgeois upbringing.
Who was born just recently.
Yeah, so feminism, she does remember women getting the vote.
Yes.
And she does remember voting for the first time. It was a big deal.
Yes.
But she wouldn't have been the kind of person who would have advocated for everybody to live in the same way. Yeah. She was living in the way that she liked because that's what she liked.
Yeah.
And nobody was stopping her because from that part of the country there were a lot of women speed skaters.
Yeah. I have to ask this because the research team forced me to ask you, are you a feminist these days? Would you call yourself today?
Yes. We have to specify what kind.
Please do.
No, you have to because you asked the question. There are about 75 different kinds. You have a wide choice, and if you look on Wikipedia, you can read about
the most boring answer would be men and women are created equal and they should be treated equally. So
men and women are both citizens in countries.
Yes.
And they both pay taxes if they have jobs.
Yes.
So they should have equal rights of those kinds.
Yes.
Should they all have to use the same washroom? No, they should not. Should we dictate to people what sort of clothing they should wear? No, we should not. So that to me doesn't come under equal rights.
Yes.
It just comes under people's preferences. But do I object to some of the horrible things done to women because they're women? Yes, I object to them. Do I object to the recent treatment of women in Texas and Florida who happen to be pregnant? Yes, I object. And let me say at this point that these people who claim to love babies do not love babies, because if they loved babies, they would provide proper health care to women during their pregnancy. They would provide proper food. They would give them proper medical care, and they would support them after they have had the babies, and they do none of those things. So you have to have the baby. If you start having a miscarriage, the medical profession won't treat you until you're practically dead.
That's sort of
that's horrible.
That's a dystopia.
Well, it's actually
by you coming.
No, it's worse.
It's worse.
It is worse for those women in Texas and Florida than it is in Gilead in my book, because in Gilead they get proper meals. In fact, they have to eat these proper meals.
You couldn't even predict this type of dystopia at the time.
Well, okay, in my deepest, darkest imagination, I think it's a plot to kill poor people, because the United States is those people in that regime have probably decided that they have too many of them. So if you force women to get pregnant and then don't give them any care, they're going to die. Big surprise. So I haven't said this much publicly, but think about it for 1 minute.
No. Do you want to continue on this? Because I'm looking at Jochen. He has another question.
No, I just wanted to. Well, we started with your mother.
Yes.
who used not to be a feminist in the classical sense. So obviously, the relation to your father was kind of equal in every way. So she was doing the same thing.
They were partners. So I think there are styles of marriage according to the decade that you're in, or according to the period that you're in. So the 50s was officially pretty stupid. It was the little wifey who didn't have a brain, but was in charge of running the household. Yeah. And the household should be an open-plan bungalow. What a nightmare. And 4 children. And, of course, men who had come back from the war were used to a lot of adrenaline and probably found this completely boring. And it's at that moment that Playboy magazine starts.
Okay, I didn't.
Why bother with these bungalows and little wifeys? Come on down to the bunny palace and get served drinks by women with rabbit ears and tails.
And you start writing at some point just for yourself. Do you remember the first time when you literally started to write down your thoughts?
Well, to write things down in little books. Now, are we talking about childhood writing? Because a lot of children do that.
Yeah.
My brother was a prolific child writer, and our usual procedure was to make the book. You fold the pages, make a nice cover, you sew it up the spine, and then you fill it up till you get to the end. Then you put the end. So on some of his books, he even has on the inside cover, by the same author. He lists the other books he's written. So there is a moment when he stopped writing adventure stories and started writing biological handbooks called things like What's on Saturn.
Non-fiction. The men turned towards non-fiction.
No, it was the illustrations of the life forms on Saturn, the scientific names and the descriptions. Don't go to Saturn, because they're either poisonous or man-eating.
Yeah, we won't. And we'll stay here on planet Earth, I think.
He became a biologist.
Right, yeah.
So I think I was probably imitating him at the beginning. I did write a play that was a flop. The audience was him and his friends, and I'm sorry to tell you, they thought it was funny.
What was that play about?
Oh, it was a morality tale. Yes, it involved a giant, the moon, a ghost, and something else. What was it? I think it might have been a bat or something. It was quite gothic. Halloween was my favorite thing. Yes, it was quite short as well. So it was about lying, and the giant said that if he ever told a lie, may the moon fall on him.
Wow.
But
And
that
he
was in
did.
Mischief Land, was it?
No, that was
This is
later.
later.
That was a
later.
different
That's
world.
much later.
Mischief Land wasn't a play. It was a universe. So
Yes.
we had these pretend universes, and his had a lot of. It was a war between the rabbits and the foxes, with a lot of spaceships and armaments, and it was for that reason that he traded his pink, gold, and silver colored pencils for my black, orange, and red.
Wow.
Because he was running out of things to make flames with, and I was quite happy to have the pink, gold, and silver to make princesses.
Why do you remember this?
I remember everything.
I realize now.
How?
I
But
can't
how?
remember the colors of the pens I traded with someone else.
You don't?
No.
Well, just think back. Think back. I'll hypnotize you. It'll come to you.
Okay.
Jochen is
Okay.
closing his eyes right now, so
closing
you
my
can
eyes.
hypnotize him.
Yes, all right.
I still can't
So
remember.
you go by elimination. Was it green? This is going to take a while.
Oh, we have time.
But yeah, I mean, from reading your memoir, I had this feeling that your parents were very supportive, but also
They
kind of
were-
strict.
Yeah. Well, they
Or-
had rules. Okay. So one of the rules is if you have a fight, I don't care who started it, you will both be punished equally. Yeah. So that's a good thing to say to countries.
interesting.
Clear rule.
Yes, very clear. But the result was that we did our fighting in private. Yes. But we didn't do much fighting, really, because he was 3 years older, and basically we did whatever he said we were going to do. And the idea of sawing off the back of my doll's head to see what made the eyes open and close,
Wow.
that was his idea. I'm just saying.
And do you remember sort of the time when you started thinking for yourself, maybe writing or literature could become something?
Yeah, I did. Oh, you mean when I was 16? Yes, that would be crossing the football field because I sewed a lot of my clothes. I had sewed this beautiful pink dress. You'll notice that pink is a motif.
And you love pink.
I
You're
love
also
pink.
wearing a
Yes,
little
I'm
bit
wearing
pink today.
pink right now.
Yeah.
So I sewed this. This won't mean anything to you, but it was a princess line.
What was that?
Shall I draw it for you? No, because your listeners can't see it.
Well, you can. We
It
have
was-
a pen.
it
I'm
was
sure we have a
fitted-
pen.
I have a pen.
So
fitted
here's a
at
white
the top,
paper,
okay.
and you can draw it for us.
Maybe.
Pencil.
Do we have a pink silver pencil?
Unfortunately.
No, I think we'll just use that
I
one
traded
over
it
there.
many years ago.
Oh, so
but-
you do remember.
Okay, so
So
you're
what we
drawing
had was we
the
had
princess line.
something called cap sleeves, which were like that. Okay, it had something called a shirred bodice, which was gathered, and it had a line there. And then it had a fitted upper torso and a flared,
Oh, now I can see it
skirt.
coming to life.
yes.
Wow.
So like that.
Okay,
So
cool.
you
And
can see.
who taught you to do this? I mean, how did you learn? Just by
Okay.
yourself?
No, not at all.
That's beautiful.
I had a class in my first year of high school, and it was called guidance.
Guidance.
Guidance. And that was about, I mean, these kids were like 13. I was 12. The other kids in my class, some of them were almost 16 because you couldn't leave school till you were 16, and they'd failed. People failed in those days.
So they kept staying and doing
They kept
rounds
staying,
and rounds.
and so I was, as a 12-year-old, I was in a class with boys who shaved. Yes, and girls who plucked their eyebrows and wore bright red lipstick. Terrifying. Yeah, so in guidance, you were given choices of careers, and there were a lot of choices of careers for boys. Let me point out that this was 1951 or 2.
The
And for
original
girls,
tradwife era.
Well, it was tradwives for people who were older than me.
yeah.
We were the rock and roll generation. We were not that interested in being little wifey with the open plan bungalow.
Yeah.
Yes, it was Elvis by the time I was 15.
So the guidance...
haven't got to the guidance
exactly.
yet. Yeah, so lots of things for boys. You want to be an aeronautical engineer or an accountant, a doctor, a lawyer, something respectable. None of them said theater director. And none of them said reporter for Die Zeit. Just telling you, wasn't on the menu. Oh, well.
Glad
not serious.
Born a little bit
not
later.
serious enough to be in this guidance textbook, which was gray in color.
Yeah.
So for women, there were 3. There were 5. Let's see if you can guess them.
That's a very good question.
Their minds go blank.
Kindergarten.
Close. Keep going.
Okay.
So nurse kind of.
Yes. That's one.
Car mechanic.
No,
Just
car
joking.
mechanic, no. Although on my aptitude test, car mechanic was one of my aptitudes.
I read that.
Yeah.
I have to confess.
Textile
No.
worker
No,
or something
not
like
at all, no.
Okay, what else?
Okay, think office work.
Assistant, secretary.
Secretary, yes. Okay, so
Not
we've got-
assistant.
We've got public school teacher, some primary school teacher. We've got nurse. We've got secretary. We had, oddly enough, in that age when it wasn't really a big thing yet, we had airline stewardess.
Yes.
Is what we called them then. Very glamorous. And we had home economist.
Which is translate into mother and
Domestic
cooking.
science. No, it was to make you feel important. It was treated as either a branch of economy, economics, what things cost and how to manage all of that, or a branch of science. And that would be, what are the chemical changes that happen when you cook an egg at this temperature? Things
Science.
like, yes, science.
Hard science.
Yes, vitamins, they were a big deal.
So here's young Peggy.
Here's young Peggy looking at all of this, and remember that my parents went through the Depression, and they were very, as we say, cautious. They were cautious.
Yeah, for good reason.
They were cautious around money.
Of course.
And we, being from a Nova Scotian background, were expected to support ourselves. You were going to grow up and you were going to support yourself. Your parents were not going to do this for you. And they never said, why don't you just marry a rich man? Nobody ever said that to me. So I was looking at what these various things got paid. And the home economists made the most money. So I went into that instead of stenography, which would have taught me how to touch type.
Yeah, but you couldn't have written *Handmaid's Tale* in West Berlin in 1984 if you would have
Two-finger system.
Would have took that course.
Well, it would have been harder for me to use the German keyboard typewriter. Problems with the umlaut, always a problem.
But is it really so? You entered school at the age of 12, correct?
Yes.
And before that, you were
Home taught, no?
Oh, no.
How
People
did
get
that
this
work?
wrong. I never spent a full year in school until I was in high school.
Yeah.
But the times when we would be up in the woods became shorter because instead of being a field researcher, my father became a university professor. And in Canada at that time, the school year ended in April, and it began at the end of September. So May, June, July, August, and part of September. So that time got shorter, but then I would be in school.
Right.
But you had also some homeschooling by your parents, or?
Well, for the time when we weren't in school, but it was much easier at that time. She just went to the school, got the workbooks, we did them, and then you were free to do whatever you wanted, which meant that I became a very superficial student.
Yeah, you write about that in your memoir.
Yeah, you can sort of whiz through it and get rid of it, and then that's the end of that.
And I was thinking, like, if you have a very intelligent kid, just give her the books and tell her you can be
read
like
yourself.
You're free when you've done your homework. You're free for the rest of the summer.
Well, for the rest of the day. This would usually happen in the morning.
And how did you spend your days outside in nature? What did you do as a kid?
Well, there was my brother, of course, so quite a lot of it was directed by his interests, which were turning over logs to see what was underneath. So
my God.
that has stayed with me. I still turn over logs to see what's
Really?
underneath. Well, that means going into a story, you know this because you write for a newspaper, turning over the logs to see what's underneath, which is usually a snail or a worm or something.
And apparently you're not afraid at all. You're not afraid by nails, by any kind of animals.
Snails, yes. Snails and nails are two different things.
Yeah. But you're not afraid of any insect.
If I
or
were
any
in
animal.
Australia, I would be. So nature is very specific. It depends where you are and what the population, either plants or animals, of that particular area is. So what you would do in Canada is not what you would do in Australia, which has more venomous creatures than any other place on Earth. You see a snake or a spider in Australia, you stay far away. Mm-hmm. You don't pick them up. But ours were not harmless, so you could. And similarly with plants, you don't just go eating any old wild plant. You really need to know, and you know perfectly well about mushrooms, because I think this part of the world is quite mushroomy. Yeah. There's lots of mushrooms.
We have this expression in the German-speaking countries called in die Pilze gehen.
Yeah, go gathering mushrooms.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yes, so that happens here. It happens a lot in Finland, big on the mushrooms. So our part of the world and that part of the boreal forest also has a lot of mushrooms. But you have to be careful.
Okay.
You have to know your mushrooms, as we say. Know your mushrooms. There's a theory that the old berserkers amongst the Vikings were high on mushrooms.
That's why they could travel so far?
No, that's why they charged into battle in a really insane way. But it's just a theory. Yeah,
so we were talking about the guidance classes earlier.
So we did the guidance class, and I went into home economics instead of taking typing, which I should have done. Mm-hmm. And there we did not only cooking, but dressmaking of the old kind with linings and
Victorian
double seams.
Style?
Dressmaking did not end in 1900. It continued on, especially in couture houses.
Oh, yeah.
Certainly throughout the 50s, where there were a lot of fitted garments. So you had to learn how to cut, fit, make a model of the thing that you were going to sew and cut it out and so forth. So I was not, however, very devoted to the insides of garments. I didn't much care what went on in there. I cared what they looked like.
And I mean, it was a time. I mean, Christian Dior, I think, founded his fashion house in 1946. So.
Yes, and he burst out with the new look in 1950.
And I had a feeling that must have been something that caused you interest at the time.
Oh, yes, very interesting. So the formal gowns for school dances, which would have bare shoulders and really puffy skirts. Those were of that period. Crinolines, big skirts, and, we won't get into the shoes. You didn't make the shoes, you got the shoes. So I did a lot of that, and for two reasons. Number one, it interested me. Mm-hmm. Number two, it was cheaper. So I've retained my interest in clothes and how they are made and what their social significance is.
The language of clothes.
The language of clothes, which has a very old history and is very interesting. And there's a big handbook called The Book of Costume by Milia Davenport, which starts with Greeks and goes right up to the end of the 19th century. Mm-hmm. And when I was writing my novel Alias Grace, of course, this was very important because you had to know what people were wearing.
The codes.
the codes, the availability, and especially what were the women wearing in prison, which was hard to find out. We knew what the men were wearing. We'd seen it described. What were the women wearing? Would you like to know?
Yeah, I was just about to ask, how did you find out?
Well, I got hold of the archivist at Kingston Penitentiary.
Wow.
What?
Yes, Kingston Penitentiary, where this girl that I was writing about was incarcerated.
Yes.
Yeah.
And my sister helped me with a lot of research, and this nice gentleman said at first, I don't know, but then he dug around. He looked and looked, and he found out for us.
Mm-hmm.
Blue and white stripes, in case you were wondering.
So clothes are an important symbol in your literature, obviously,
Clothes,
everywhere.
it's important to get the things right, because there are now websites dedicated to clothes in fiction.
Yes,
And if you get it wrong, somebody's going to tell you.
yes.
You know, that was not in style in that year, you idiot. So there are people watching. You might have got away with it 50 years ago,
But not now.
Not now.
Yeah. I mean, today you're wearing a beautiful combination of black and pink and different shades of pinkish.
It matches my book cover.
Ah.
So I'm putting it. I have the German edition right here,
Yes, it's the same cover.
and it's you wearing gloves.
Oh, yes. Well, the story of the cover is this.
Aha.
It's a very reputable photographer from Colombia, yes, who has assistants, as they all do. And amongst their assistants are stylists. And they bring racks of clothes that they have chosen that they thought might be good for your cover. So you go through these and you say, I would never wear that. 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 So you put on the respectable black writer's clothing. Am I wrong?
Isolde Ohlbaum, type of style.
Well, she never had a stylist who brought clothes.
Yeah.
Ever. She didn't do that. She was quite happy to shoot you in your actual clothes.
So the stylist brought the gloves,
The
hand gloves.
The outfit came from the stylists.
Right.
And we got to the end of the respectable black serious shoot with the... and then we got to the fooling around part, which always happens.
Yeah.
So first they wanted me to put on this big puffy yellow thing that looked like a dandelion, and I said I would never wear that.
See that.
Looks really stupid. So I put that on and rejected it. And then they said, well, just try this on. It's this wonderful color of fuchsia. It has a collar that looks like a folio edition.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they brought the gloves to match. They said, look, just try it on just for fun. So then I did that thing, of course. You always know that it's one of the silly things you're doing that will end up on the cover, but it's too late by then. So I did Hear No Evil with the gloves. I did See No Evil, and then I did Speak No Evil. And it's Speak No Evil that they used
landed
for
on the cover. Yeah, but you finally authorized it. So you finally said yes to this?
Well, I think it's fitting.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, but I'm going to tell you a secret.
Yeah.
It's that kind of look.
Yeah.
Whereas See No Evil probably wouldn't have worked.
No.
But what's the function if you have speculative literature? You can invent your own clothes, like in the Handmaid's Tale, for example,
they have to be
which
fitting.
is a global symbol now, right?
Yes, so where
there.
did that come from?
Yeah.
First of all, the history of Western art, most specifically religious painting. So you'll often see the Virgin Mary in blue. Not only does it signify purity, but it was the most expensive color to buy as a painter. So you were doing honor to her by putting her in blue. Red, on the other hand, can have several significations. It is the red cross of Christ, but it is also the color of Mary Magdalene. So, and it also appears in the Bible as the Scarlet Woman.
Right.
And that is why Nathaniel Hawthorne used the scarlet A. because scarlet to the Puritans would have meant scarlet woman. And there is a reason why Scarlett O'Hara is called Scarlett O'Hara.
We understood that reason now.
Now you understand it.
I never knew about her name, about the...
Oh, yes. Well, think about it for 1 second and it will all become clear. My other theory about the scarlet A, which she has to wear, which is supposed to mean adulterist. And I think it also means author. Hawthorne's worry about himself was writing about forbidden things.
That's what authors do when they write about forbidden things, don't they?
They do, yes. They become scarlet authors. Anyway, here we are. We have the color. And as for the shape, there was a form of sink cleaner in the 1940s called Old Dutch Cleanser. And it terrified me as a child because it had a woman on it.
Do you want to draw it?
Yeah, I can certainly draw it.
Yeah.
She had a bonnet that was white, so you couldn't see her face. And
That's scary.
She was holding a stick, which was also scary. And she was chasing something.
Wow. Which you didn't see, I guess.
What?
What was she chasing?
She was chasing the dirt. But, of course, as a child, you don't know that.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she was chasing something with a stick, which was
Scary.
This is a faceless woman chasing something which might be a little child.
Did you ever...
And it was blue.
Yeah. Did you ever ask your parents about her?
No.
That's because children don't ask these questions. You know, everyone remembers seeing something as a
or
five-year,
fearing something.
That's right.
Yes, but I suppose one of the things is that if you ask, you'll either be told you're silly, or the magic of the image will disappear. So these are what we call numinous images for children.
But this
up until the age of 5, everything is magic, which is why you should never put on a magic show for below 5-year-olds. They don't see any reason why the rabbit should not come out of the hat.
Right.
Yes,
Very
because
good
it's
point.
all magic.
Yeah. This is where the outfit in The Handmaid's Tale
Partly.
comes from?
Partly.
Yeah, partly. But partly, of course, I was a Victorianist.
Yeah.
And the bonnets and the voluminous dresses were typical of the middle of the 19th century. So a director, author, producer called Sarah Polley made a film of Alias Grace, which starts in 1843. And we were being interviewed about it, and somebody said, what do The Handmaid's Tale and Alias Grace have in common? And I said, bonnets. Then she said, such bonnets. Yeah, so bonnets, hiding the face. And in the middle of the 19th century, you had these bonnets so that men couldn't see your face. And it was considered very impudent for men to come and peer inside your bonnet. It was considered very intrusive. And the other sexy thing at that time was ankles.
Free ankles.
Ankles that you could see. So the dresses are right down to the ground, which was a real problem because the streets were quite dirty. But to show your ankles, and of course,
I didn't know.
Men waited for women to get up steps into carriages because they had to lift their skirt. Ankles, wow. Ooh, ankles. Quel frisson. Yes, so like that. So these things move through phases with different parts of the body being emphasized by clothing and other parts being suppressed. And you can just move through time and see this happening. You can see sleeves swelling, shrinking, bustles ballooning, disappearing, legs appearing, skirts becoming quite short in the 1920s. Woo, what a change.
In the 1920s already?
1920s. That's the age of the flappers.
Right, I didn't know.
The
I just thought the
Charleston.
mini skirt was the first.
No. No, anything above the knee. Oh, ooh, these modern girls. Yes, that happened then. And then you see them descending.
Longer,
They become longer. They become quite long in the 50s, reaching quite an unattractive level, in my opinion. And then they become very short in the late 60s, coinciding with the invention of tights. So miniskirts and tights, the twiggy look. We could go on about this for years.
Yeah, no problem.
But if you want to explore things on the internet, you can go to a website called Prior Attire. Prior Attire, she's an historical costume recreator.
Oh, fantastic.
So she shows you how the clothes are made, and then she shows you how you would get dressed in the morning in a given year, including the hats, gloves, accessories.
So you can time travel.
Absolutely.
Wow. Do you have a favorite year?
I have a couple of favorite years. I think the period between about 1905 and 1913 is quite attractive.
Why is that? You want to draw again? I had a feeling. I mean, you can go ahead. Go ahead, please,
so the skirts are not ridiculous. You have a fairly fitted top with fairly, but not ridiculous, puffy sleeves. Puffy sleeves were a bit earlier. So this would be a walking suit. So it had fitted thing usually like that. The buttons up the front. And then the skirt would be not really puffy.
Quite rather slim?
Rather slim, maybe even a bit slimmer than that. Let's make it a bit slimmer. So sort of like that. And you can see me wearing one of these in a television show called Murdoch Mysteries, where I have on a fitted suit suitable for an amateur bird watcher of that era.
Wow.
Yes. So I like that one. The Victorian outfit that I had to put on for Alias Grace was really difficult.
Right.
Partly because so I have a cameo called Disagreeable Woman.
Yeah.
And that was the sign on my movie trailer. It said Disagreeable Woman. And I had two dressers to put me into all of this stuff because they did it authentically. So it was the stockings, the boots, the underclothing, the skirt, the jacket, the shawl, the gloves, and the bonnet. And it was August in Canada, and all these things were made of wool. So I was disagreeable in the morning a bit, but by the time we got to the end of the shoot, I was really disagreeable because it got hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter, and I was cooking. So I said, well, we're not going to see the bottom part of me. Can we just take some of this off? And they said, no, we want it to be authentic.
Can you remember when you started writing real serious literature?
When I was 16, without a doubt. I started writing, we had to write essays for school. So that was nonfiction prose, but I also started writing short stories at that time and a lot of poetry, like a lot of poetry. All of it pretty bad.
Is it really? So you printed your own first?
That was much later. So between 16 and 21, there's quite a... you can cram quite a lot into those years. There's a big difference between a 16-year-old and a 21-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was in high school, I continued on, and then I was in university, and it was at the end of university that I handset my own 7-poem book of poetry.
Yeah. But you were a kind of writer by training then already?
Well, I was a writer by self-declaration.
By self-declaration?
It's not the same as training.
Do you remember a moment when you told your parents, I'm going to be a writer?
Oh, yes, they were horrified. But being them, they controlled themselves. They didn't say, are you insane? My mother said, well, if you're going to be a writer, you need to learn to spell. Because my spelling was quite bad, and a lot of writers have this.
Oh, really?
Well, because they spell by ear. Writing is oral, and it's in its origin. You're hearing it and then writing it down. So I didn't have any trouble with scientific words like scrofulariaceae. I had trouble with words like weird. English is a difficult language in that respect.
Yes, it is.
It's not always pronounced the way it's spelled, and because it has so many influences on it, you can't depend on it. It's got odd spelling.
Yeah.
So she said that, and she also said, how will you support yourself? Because she certainly wasn't going to do that. I said, I'll have jobs, which I did.
Yeah.
And I did have an insane idea that I would write true romance stories, because I got hold of a magazine called Writers' Markets. And that told you what different magazines, because it was the age of magazines, what they paid and for what. So it was evident that true romance magazines paid the most. And this is the kind of magazine that would show a young girl on the front with the tear rolling down her cheek, and in the background there would be another young girl and a young man, and you just knew what had happened. My best friend stole my boyfriend. Boo-hoo. Yes, right.
That wasn't exactly your idea of literature, was it?
No, but I was willing to
Make a
do
living.
that in order to support myself, so I could then write my deathless masterpieces in the evenings. Why are you laughing?
I mean, in preparing for this conversation, and reading your memoir, I have to admit, I suddenly realized only now that Canadian literature wasn't much of a thing, to put it rather diplomatically, politely, when you started writing
No,
novels.
not at all. It had been more of a thing in the 30s, but then there was a lacuna because of paper shortages, and nobody was paying any attention to that anyway. So then it started up again in the 50s, which in the United States was almost entirely male. And
The Hemingways.
He was even earlier than that.
Yeah.
More like the Updikes, the Philip Roths, the Norman Mailers of that generation. Canada was a different situation because of the economies of scale. Canada was much smaller then than it is now.
Yeah.
It was very hard to publish novels. You could publish nonfiction books that had wider potential readership, but novels...
Interesting, because today it's the other way around usually, no?
Is it?
Well, in many
I
cases,
don't know.
no?
There's a big market for nonfiction, too.
Yeah. Okay.
But Canadian subjects were just coming into vogue in Canada, just maybe not even at the beginning of the 60s. And I'd put this guy into my book called Jack McClelland, and he decided to become the Canadian publisher. And the reason he did that was that the educational system was changing. It had been so that you could count on selling a certain number of Shakespeare plays in any given year because they were on the high school curriculum. So you knew you had a market for that. And these Canadian publishers, very few in number, also sold books from other, quotes, real places, such as New York and London, and in the case of Quebec, Paris.
Right.
But
French.
yeah, in French.
Yeah.
So the readership for those books automatically discounted anything Canadian. And even in the early 70s, I was getting questions from audiences like, there isn't really any Canadian literature, or if it is, it's just a pale imitation of American or French or British.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the situation, and it's why my generation usually began as poets.
Like you.
Yeah, because it was we began publishing as poets. We were writing fiction. But that's different. Writing something and publishing something are two different things. You need to find somebody who agrees with you in order to publish your deathless masterpiece. So we could publish our own poetry in our sellers, and we had a market for it. It was other poets, as
everyone's
is
a poet
often
in
the
Canada.
case. They were then. Yeah, maybe not so now. But in those days, the big writers who weren't nonfiction writers were poets, with a couple of outliers who had published in places like Britain.
Crazy.
You wrote this survival thing in the 70s about Canadian literature.
Yeah, it was published in 1972.
Yeah.
I'm going to take care of the food. I'll be back in a second.
Yeah,
Where you mentioned that also there's no kind of connecting story of the whole nation like you see it in the US and in other nations, right?
Yeah, it was very diverse.
Yeah.
But there is a connecting narrative now.
I wanted to ask you, so what's the...
The connecting narrative now is we don't want to be the 51st state.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple.
So thank you, Donald Trump.
Yeah, thank you, Donald Trump, in that respect.
Yeah.
So you've probably heard this phrase called elbows up.
Yeah, I saw the video.
Yeah. Yes, it is a hockey term.
Yeah.
It means that if somebody is crowding you in the corner and attacking you, you put your elbow up. It comes from a player called Gordie Howe.
Yeah.
And if you put your elbow up like this, they probably lose some of their teeth.
But to be serious, Canada didn't have a narrative until Donald Trump.
I think it had
Is it what
various
you're saying?
narratives from various times of history.
Yeah.
But then these narratives would fade away, and then there would be a period of not having one, and then it would come back. So it was a narrative in 1967 at the time of Expo 67.
Yes.
There was a lot of enthusiasm.
Yeah.
And the narrative came from, was this big world exposition? Would Canada be able to pull it off?
Yes.
Would it even get built in time?
Yes.
Would it be a success?
Yeah.
And everybody was quite anxious about that. And then they did get it built in time, and it was a success.
Yeah.
And that gave people the idea, hey, we can do this.
Yeah.
But it was also split at that moment because Quebec's interpretation was somewhat different. So the rest of Canada, sometimes known as ROC or the Rock, thought, hey, we can do this. And Quebec thought, hey, we can do this all by ourselves.
Yeah.
Because it was in Montreal.
Didn't you travel to the US just recently this month?
I went to New York and Chicago.
How was it to be in the US as a Canadian these days?
My audience for these events is self-selected.
Yes. So
it's usually
cheerful.
composed only of people who like my work. So it was, and other people have experienced this too. There's quite a lot of, oh, we're so sorry. And we think this is awful, etc. Because the audience is self-selected.
Yes. And how was it to cross the border? Is that a silly question?
No,
We're
it's
talking
not a
about this
silly
a lot in
question
Germany
at all.
these days.
It's not a silly question at all. I think it's not quite as fear-making as it was, say, in April or so.
Okay.
Because there are a lot of stories then of people being, grabbed and stuffed into places and having their, oh, what horror, their digital devices taken away from them. But I've crossed it a couple of times this fall, and both times were extremely friendly and cheerful. But we do this in Toronto. Because you go through immigration in Toronto. So if they tell you you can't come in, you just go home. You're not going to end up in alligator Alcatraz.
Yeah.
I have to come back to the self-publishing of your first poems, because today there's this huge scene of writers publishing online. And
Yes, they can do that now.
Do you observe that? And
I observe that.
And what do you think about this?
Like everything else, it's mixed. So some people have made, quotes, breakthroughs. Other people have not. Most people have not. It makes a lot of money for Amazon.
Yes.
There's this thing called Wattpad.
Yeah.
And I knew them in their very early days.
You wrote for them, didn't you?
Yeah, I helped them out. We didn't get paid for that, just pointing out. But I thought that it was a good way for high school kids or teenagers to practice writing because you can use a pseudonym. Nobody need know who you are. So in school, you're not going to write for class and have everybody see it, your steamy vampire romance. But you can do that under a pseudonym in Wattpad. You can get a readership. You get positive comments. They edit out hate mail and things like that.
Yeah.
So you feel, hey, somebody's reading my thing, and they would like me to write more of it because it's always written in installments. So it's a little bit like Robert Louis Stevenson. Do you know the story of Treasure Island?
No. The backstory?
The backstory.
No, I don't. No, I don't.
Here's the backstory of Treasure Island.
Oh, please
it's
go.
very encouraging. So Robert Louis Stevenson was at a low point in his life. He was broke. He was coughing. Of course, he continued to cough all his life. He was living with his parents, so the equivalent of in my parents' basement. And he had written 2 novels which he had just burned up in the fireplace because he thought they weren't any good. And coming to stay with them was a 12-year-old boy who liked to draw and paint with watercolors. So Robert Louis Stevenson was drawing and painting with this kid, and he drew a map. He drew a map of a desert island.
No
And
way.
they decided together that maybe it should be a buried treasure island that pirates had buried a treasure on. So he marked the place where the treasure was, and he named some of the features like Spyglass Hill, etc.
Yes.
And then the little boy said that he would like to know the story of this map. So Robert Louis Stevenson starts writing the story, and he puts the map in a sea chest, and he starts with a boy narrator who talks about, Billy Bones in his chest that he's guarding, and how he finds the map, and then it goes on from there. And as he wrote each chapter, he was reading it out loud to the family circle. And they were quite interested in it, and they wanted him to continue.
Yes.
So he keeps writing it.
Unbelievable.
Up until the time when they're all in the blockhouse, which you'll remember the pirates have got them sort of hemmed in with this blockhouse. And at that time, a friend of his who was a publisher comes to stay with him.
Yes.
And he reads the story up till that point. And he says, this is really good. We would be interested in that. And Robert Louis Stevenson immediately gets writer's block. He gets writer's block in the
As long as
blockhouse.
he was writing for his boy and
Yes.
for the family,
Well,
it was
it didn't
fine.
really matter, yeah.
Yeah.
But now,
This is-
oh my God, it's serious. So he gets writer's block in the blockhouse. And then he finally manages to get himself unblocked. And he continues it and he finishes it. And he sends it off to the publisher, and they say, with the map. And they say, we really want to publish this. But they lose the map.
No.
Yes. So he had to recreate this map from memory. And then it's this huge success. And it was part of that period of late Victorian writing when there was a renewed interest in adventure stories.
Right.
And yarns, and H.G. Wells comes out of that with his first sci-fi story. And H. Rider Haggard, who wrote this novel called She, was directly inspired by Stevenson and the map. But he said, I'm going to do even better than the map. I'm going to make a fake pot with an inscription on it.
I had no idea.
So then he goes on with his adventure story, which also becomes a ginormous success. And Carl Jung had a very high opinion of it. He thought it was very archetypal.
Yeah.
Did you know that? No.
I didn't.
No.
I mean, you know so much.
That's because I'm so old.
Not entirely true. As an answer, I cannot accept that. Where do you think your hunger for knowledge, for information, for stories, for history comes from?
Entirely from my family surroundings and the fact that my parents were both readers. There were a lot of books around, and up in the woods, that was it. So no cinema, no theater, no opera, no music festivals.
No internet.
No internet, no television.
Yeah.
Television was invented in Germany in the 1930s, but didn't become a popular thing until the 50s.
Yeah.
And my parents never got a television set anyway. They were against it. So it was books and books.
And was it also the fact that your parents or your family were talking about characters like old family members? Like
they were good storytellers. So my mother's stories were always funny, and they were always about family doings of her youth. She had 4 brothers and sisters who often got into a lot of, not exactly mischief, but let's call it mischief. And my father, it would usually be about eccentric characters in his neighborhood or backwoods adventure stories in which you'd get trapped by a forest fire and during a 2-week-long rainstorm, things like that had happened to him. So not so much about his family, more about kind of other adventures, but they were both good narrators. So sure, we can say that. My brother and I had ongoing sagas that we would tell, and when one of us got tired of narrating, the other one would pick it up and continue with the story. And I did this on Wattpad with a writer called Naomi Alderman. We set up a situation and we took turns writing episodes. And what we were doing was writing each other into corners, writing our characters into corners, and then the other person had to get them out.
Like boxes.
Like
a
chess
lot,
game.
yes. I think it had, this was a zombie story.
Right.
Because she knew a lot about zombies. So we started with the following situation. She played the granddaughter and I played the grandmother. And the granddaughter phones the grandmother and says, "Grandma, Mom just ate Dad in the kitchen." But
to start an explosion and then
then what? They decided that they had to get their mother to this place called the Happy Zombie Sunrise Home, which was in England, of course. So they had to transport her with a special zombie mobile across the Canadian border.
Yeah.
And at one point, our girl narrator's phone runs out of power and she has to recharge it. So she leaves the zombie mobile and there's this little lone cabin.
Oh no,
she
it's
goes
a bad
in
idea.
there.
Bad idea.
Well, there wasn't anybody in there.
Oh.
All that was in there was a chest of drawers and a chair. Okay, so she manages to recharge her phone, but then outside the window and door appears a zombie.
See?
How to get out? What should she do? What would you have done?
How do you get rid of zombies?
Well, from my life experience, no, I have no idea. but while Jochen is,
what about food?
Yeah, while Jochen is coming up.
Well,
we
just talked about food.
Yeah.
With Dad as the main course.
Our team has done some research, of course, as well, and we kind of find out you seem to like egg salad.
Yes, it looks beautiful. It's got a lot of green in it.
Yes, so we hired
green is good.
The chef and catering service from Berlin called Studio Schmaus.
Okay.
Beautiful German name, isn't it? And they prepared this Margaret Atwood lunch for us. So it's this egg salad sandwiches with the hand-baked brioche.
That looks lovely.
And so I'm going to read this out in German because you speak German.
Yes.
Okay. So Radicchio Schwarzkohlsalat.
Radicchio is a very German word.
Isn't it?
Mit Sellerie.
Actually, it's Italian.
Und karamellisierten Kernen. So it's caramelized here a little bit.
Look at
so
that.
we have then Rosenkohl mit cranberry. This is the Rosenkohl mit cranberry salad.
Beautiful.
Hazelnut and ginger.
Ooh.
And it's actually, because we were talking about mushrooms, this is a mushroom pate.
Ooh.
And of course, we have some extra cheese for you, just in case. In German, die deutsche Käseplatte von der alten Milch.
Oh.
So it's Deichkäse, Friesisch Blauschimmelkäse, den roten Bollheimer, which is a soft
Never
cheese.
heard of that.
It looks beautiful. And we have some other kind of cheese, soft cheese, and butter, of course. We're in Germany. So yeah, please enjoy. If you want to anything, if you
May
try
I
anything.
save the drawings?
If you wish.
Yes,
Yeah,
we would love
definitely.
to do that.
Historical document.
So
now.
I'm definitely going to have an egg
Egg salad sandwich.
Yes,
You have
also-
one?
Yeah.
Paola has one.
Paula
looks
will
beautiful.
grab her own sandwich.
I give
The
you this
photographer
one.
has left by now, so we can
Yeah, so we
eat
have to
without
share
being
only for-
photographed.
Yes, photographs of people eating are not so good.
Yeah.
Yes,
They
well,
smell,
this
they
looks
smell really
lovely.
nice.
Or is us eating the sandwich as part of the program?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can
it's,
like just that's what we do. Like we eat
Are we going to
during
hear
the conversation.
Are we
and-
going to hear the sounds of chewing?
Yeah. Some of our readers complain, others love it by now. So
Ja, others eat
most-
with us.
Oh, do
so
they?
listen to the podcast.
That's very nice.
So Leute, jetzt packen wir die Eiersandwiches
Ja,
auf.
das ist sehr gut. People cook, because it takes a few hours to listen to the conversation, to the
Yes.
episode. People
So they cook
do all
while they're
kinds of
doing
things.
it. Yes.
Yeah,
well,
they
this is
cook.
the beauty of. Once upon a time, it was the beauty of radio, and still is.
I agree.
So podcasts are just radio in another form. You like this?
I'm glad you like egg salad. We never had egg salad on
No.
the show, did we?
I can't remember.
What do other people choose? Or what do you choose for other people?
All kinds of, like, everything really from fries. We had fries, the sausage for a German politician. Goes, all the way. And usually when we ask the some of the restaurants, we pay for the food so we can name their names. By now they're already like Studio Schmaus. They really enjoy themselves preparing a special food for our guests because it has become a kind of
So they
a
always
kind of
do
thing.
it. Studio Schmaus.
No, it's always in different restaurants.
Oh, it is?
Sometimes
Okay.
we have an Italian restaurant. Sometimes we have a local currywurst imbiss. We really do all kinds of things. Now, we've briefly mentioned that you've written so many different type of books. You've written novels, nonfiction, children's books as well, and quite a few. Because you've just mentioned, the story how Treasure Island came about.
Yes, I loved Treasure Island as a child.
I can imagine that's what I was going to ask you. I mean, do you think these kind of books sort of inspired you as a writer, or was it
Not too
less?
much.
Yeah.
I just enjoyed them. And of course, being a student of Victorian literature later, I read all of his things, including Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, a sort of model of Gothic storytelling. And that is the golden age of that kind of Gothic literature, which probably had its beginning somewhere in Germany in the early part of the 19th century, but continued on, and the English took up ghost stories and vampire stories. We have Dracula from Bram Stoker. We have Carmilla from Sheridan Le Fanu, and we have, of course, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein right at the beginning. And there's a reason why his name is Frankenstein. Yes, of course. It would be a German scientist doing this, would it not? At that
It
time
had
in
to be.
history.
It had to be. Now, because we've been talking about America, Canada, Europe, Germany, how would you explain what it means to be Canadian to people who've never been to Canada?
Well, first of all, it's a lot bigger than you think. Like, it's really big. In fact, there's a song called Canada's Really Big.
I guess it's sung and written by a Canadian. Oh, yeah. Okay.
So one always looks at the geopolitical situation of a country because it always explains something about them. why was Russia so interested in going into Afghanistan, just for instance. So I start by saying south of the United States is Mexico.
Yeah.
And north of the United States is Canada. But south of Canada is the United States, and north of Canada is Russia, which is quite a different situation. The very north of Canada is very close to Greenland. In fact, they used to be joined. So number one, it's very big. Number two, it has a specific geopolitical situation. Number three, it has a very different history from that of the United States. Number four, it's a bilingual country. Somebody said to me recently, what do you think of our No Kings protest? And I said, well, actually, we have a king.
That's right.
That's a constitutional monarchy. Will it
the
change?
British king, just to remind everyone.
Yes. Yeah, he's on.
King Charles is your king.
King Charles is our king. He's on the money. And will that be changed anytime soon? No, because it would mean opening up the Canadian Constitution, and that would be a big can of worms. So that's my
Because
view of that.
some president from the country south of you could come up with the idea of taking over Canada.
Oh, yes, the 51st state, that would never happen because, as I said, Canada's really big. You couldn't just have one governor of it. So it would be 10 new states. And,
But still,
and then the Republicans would never win an election again. So if I were them, I wouldn't do that. Number two, a lot of the energy used in the United States comes from Canada.
That's right.
So how much fun would it be for Canadians to cut the wires?
Why do you think that Europeans often say, I mean, it's a bit of a cliche, we as Europeans feel closer to Canadians than to Americans?
It used to be the other way around because in earlier parts of time, a lot of people from Europe had gone to the United States. So they felt close ties. I think that Northern Europeans feel closer to Canada than to the United States because Northern. So the way the seasons
Good
go, the tendency towards, I won't even call it social democracy. I will call it, for instance, we have a very good health plan. Oh, let me revise that. We have a health plan that is a lot better than theirs.
Yes.
Because
indeed.
if you're a small country, I think teamwork is more important. And Canada is a teamwork kind of country, oddly enough. It's also a country that puts less emphasis on individual fame and achievement. Not that we're not interested in it, but E.L. Doctorow, the writer, said to me, they didn't like my book in Canada. I said, they loved your book in Canada. He said, how could you tell? So we're much more understated than they.
There's this thing that the biggest compliment you can get in Canada is it's not bad.
Not bad. Well, not bad at all is better than not bad. Whereas in America, it's often quite flattering to Canadians to go there because you're the greatest thing since sliced bread. You're next door to God. We love you so much. So if you don't say those things, it's somehow sort of rude. But if you say those things in Canada, people think you're a phony.
And you've become famous quite early on, and you don't have to be too polite, but to agree. But you've become sort of one of the most well-known intellectuals in Canada. People recognize you on the streets. You can't really walk the streets.
You have to be careful with that word, intellectual.
I'm not being careful about it.
Yes, you need to be careful about it because Canadians think it's a bit inflated.
Okay, so as we're not in Canada.
Yes, it's just Germany.
We can just say
Berlin.
writer. We can say
Yeah.
writer.
Okay.
That's good enough.
Okay. What was your experience when you became, in my words, famous, well known?
Okay, let me
And how did
explain
the
fame in
Canadians?
Canada.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I'm out front doing my garden because I do my garden.
Yeah.
And people go by and they don't say, "Oh, Margaret Atwood, wow, gee, that's great. Can I have your shoelace?" They say, "Nice garden." And I say, "Thanks." Yeah, so it's like that. Sure, people, it's usually in airports when they get excited because they're not expecting you. It's like the funniest is airport washrooms.
Oh, okay.
So people are standing next to you and
Oh
then
my God,
It's you
I'm so surprised. Can I take a picture?
not
in the
here.
bathroom.
No, I mean, why not?
But my cliche of Canada would be it's super European mindset.
No, I don't think so.
I just realized while preparing, I didn't know that. Well, even one of your books was banned for one day in Canada. That's totally new to me.
Oh,
So
yeah.
there is a discussion like in the US about banning.
Yeah, the one day banning was very funny.
Yeah. But
So-
you ended it with your popularity and a lot of protests.
It ended because I wrote a satirical story
On eggs.
on eggs about what kind of story would be acceptable to the government of Alberta. So it was a story in which John and Mary get married and they have 4 children without ever having sex. Because what they had put in their mandate was that you couldn't have a book in the system that had either direct or indirect sex in it.
What is indirect sex?
A question
Well,
I asked myself. I don't
We
know
call
what
it
is.
osmosis.
I
I
don't
think.
know what it would be. Maybe flower pollination.
Yes,
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
something like
yeah.
that.
Yes. Anyway, it's not real life. Let us put it that way. And they back down very quickly because when you come to think of it, it's quite absurd. And I think what really happened was that the Edmonton Public Library looked at this mandate and thought it was really stupid. So they put every classic they could think of on the banned list. And then people went, "What? What is this? This is really stupid." So then the government retrenched and changed and said, no, we didn't mean that. We only meant pictures of naked people in graphic novels,
Got
which
it.
is quite a different
Yeah,
thing.
it is. Yeah. Well, Canada isn't that Canadian anymore. Europe isn't that European anymore. The US isn't that American anymore. The UK isn't that English anymore. So
What do we mean by
changed.
these terms?
So the whole planet, if you look at the data, is shifting to a more conservative, even right-wing kind of
Not everywhere.
style.
No, I don't think so.
But if you integrate it over the planet, I think there's a trend as far as the data goes.
Things swing from extreme to extreme. The best place to be is in the middle
Definitely.
before it swings to one extreme or the other. And you know perfectly well that extreme left and extreme right behave in much the same ways. So they behave like dictatorships, and dictatorships around the world behave in similar ways.
Yeah.
So why is this happening? For the reasons we discussed earlier, namely, if people are frightened and things aren't going so well, they want somebody to fix it.
And you think it's just a kind of historical pendulum going back and forth?
I would tend to think so. I'm very keen on the French Revolution right now because it is the first really modern revolution,
Right.
and others have followed that pattern. So it was Lenin who said, "We need a terror." So and they got one. So what stage of that are we in? And who's going to be Robespierre? Who is going to be Danton?
Do we need Robespierre so that
Well,
the pendulum
Robespierre
goes
would
back
be,
again?
He never really got there because they started calling him a tyrant before he really was a tyrant. And that was fatal. It was the one thing you couldn't be called. Oh, yes. These questions are not for me to decide. Do we need a Robespierre?
But you know the future. You're
A
the
future,
which we
the
have.
oracle.
I'm not an oracle. I deny that. I don't want that responsibility. And plus, if I really were an oracle, I would have cornered the stock market a long time ago. Which I have not done.
Some butter for you.
Of course, I haven't tried. Maybe if I did try, I could succeed. What do you think? I noticed that Bitcoin is falling.
Yes, but
That was predictable.
It's going up all the time. Nobody writes about it. If it falls,
It is
everyone's
falling.
really
Yeah.
But
But now it's falling.
maybe
for the moment.
Yeah,
But maybe on a different level. Well, I have to ask you about one person that we haven't even briefly mentioned yet. And also because you dedicated your book to him, the memoir.
Harry Miller.
Your man, your husband.
Oh, Graham. Okay.
I was
I thought
referring
you
to
meant the
Graham.
Handmaid's Tale.
Yes.
Oh, Graham. Yes, not
So-
Harry Miller.
So you had been married briefly as a young person, and then you meet this bigger than life type of person. How do you remember the first meeting you had with him?
The first meeting, which didn't really make that much of an impression on me, was at a party we were throwing for a poet called Milton Acorn, who, as we now know, was bipolar, but we didn't know that at the time, and was prone to depressions. And he'd written a really pretty good book. He hadn't won the prize. There was only one at that time. He had not won the prize.
The one Canadian.
Yeah, the one Canadian prize. Now there are about 100. So we invented a new thing for him called the People's Poet Award. He purported to be a communist, but I think he would have been shot very quickly by real communists because he was so bizarre. And we threw a party for him, and the really quite small literary community of Toronto at that time all turned out to it. And Graham was at it, and he had also not won the prize for his novel, and I had not won the prize for my novel. But I had won the prize for my poetry a couple of years earlier, so I was not very worried about this.
Yeah.
And I said to him that I thought he should have won the prize. What was I wearing? You know that I will remember this. I was wearing a white crocheted mini dress with wooden buttons down the front.
Okay.
So, being a fellow, they're prone to flattery, especially if you're wearing a white crocheted mini dress with wooden buttons down the front, and you are 29, and he is 36. You will realize that it made an impression on him.
Apparently.
So then I tootled off to Europe, where I worked with Tony Richardson on the script of my first novel, which never got made for reasons that are quite funny. And then I came back, and Graham shot all the covers for this little publishing company that I was part of. And I was going to publish a book of poetry with them, and he did the photo shoot. And from that moment on, he was doomed.
And
I took some persuading, I have to say. I mean, he was a lunatic.
well, at the time he was still married, and was it a kind of open marriage situation?
That's what they called it. He was living in a broom closet.
Okay.
Could you explain to our listeners what that exactly meant?
Well, what did it? No, I don't want to be too mean.
No. But in the book, I mean, I read a few things in the book you mentioned.
Yes, the relationship with the wife was on the surface amicable. I mean, they put on a show of being amicable, but really it was falling apart. And they were already discussing separation, and that he would move to the country. She would live in Port Hope. No, he would move to Port Hope. She would stay in Toronto, and they would share the children back and forth. And that fell apart when her lover of the time got squashed by a train in Port Hope on purpose. He squashed himself. Then you can't move to Port Hope.
Wow.
Anyway, it was a time when most of the people involved in the literary scene were not particularly stable bourgeoisie.
What do you exactly mean by that?
I mean that they were a little bit nuts, because you'd have to be involved in writing, wouldn't you, at that time?
So we're talking about which time exactly?
The 60s.
Yeah. So
Everything sort of went
a bit crazy.
We have the invention of we have the advent of the pill available to everybody. We have the miniskirt, we have the tights, and then in about 1970, everybody's marriage exploded.
Yes. And was this the best or the worst of times?
It's always both.
Good
I'm a
point.
Dickens scholar.
Yeah, because in many cases you describe women as, so you quote your mother, "Oh, I had too much fun to be serious about a relationship." And also in your life, it seems really important to have fun. And then the 70s and later the 80s came with a kind of, well, that's when we grew up and discovered things, I assume. And it was really complicated because there were AIDS.
I think there was a little window
Yeah.
between 1966 and the advent of AIDS.
Yeah. That's the best of times.
Well, for you, perhaps. Yeah, I think it was the best of times in some ways, but in the 70s, I was already living on this farm.
Yeah.
How was that?
So all these hippie doings were not really part of my life at all. The farm? Thoroughly described in the book.
Yeah, I know.
So it's interesting what people in different countries have wanted to ask about. The English were very keen on the farm animals.
The details.
How
Yes,
can we
I
do
love-
this? Like please, because, right? British, how can we do this? Like, can you explain exactly the details and how can we?
Oh, okay, there were a lot of farm animals, and there are a lot of
What
stories
kind of
about
animals did you have?
just about everything except goats and pigs. So we had cows, we had sheep, we had ducks, we had chickens, we had briefly geese, but the cows stepped on one of them. We had these peacocks, a tragic story.
Why?
Oh, the female peacock got killed by a weasel, and the male peacock
Oh no!
went somewhat insane.
Oh no!
When
He was
came.
missing her.
Well, it was time for him to do his display and do his
and
mating
show off for
ritual.
her.
Yes, with his big tail and
Yeah.
rattling the feathers and everything, and he didn't have anybody
No
to
audience.
be the audience except the chickens. And when they didn't react as he would wish, he murdered them. And we had to lock them up.
Okay.
And the ducks just ran away from him. And then he discovered that there was another peacock living in the house. It was actually his reflection in a plate glass window, and he started attacking it and screaming and pooping, which is part of the display ritual. So we covered up the window, but he knew the peacock was in there somewhere. And he would go around the outside of the house looking in all the windows. So I think he just finally got fed up. When he disappeared anyway, either something ate him or he flew away.
Yeah.
So we had, I forgot horses. We had horses too,
And
dogs and cats.
And you made a living out of farming, or was it kind of life?
Are you joking? No, we had 100 acres. Graham, being an idealist, thought that we shouldn't let this land go to waste and we should farm it. We didn't know anything about farming.
Yeah, so rather a lifestyle
You did.
decision, not survival.
Well, remember, he was an idealist. I think he thought he was going to make some money out of it, but that didn't really happen.
Optimist.
No,
That's what we like
we
about
were
optimists.
freelancing.
Yeah, yeah.
That's where we actually made money.
Yeah, yeah.
We always lost money on the farm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jochen,
Christoph.
I think it's about time that we play a little game. So we have this little routine in the podcast where we are asking you very simple questions.
I'm looking at the vegetables.
Yes.
yes.
Thank you.
Please.
Let you have the vegetables first.
I can
Take your time.
recommend
The mushrooms
the
or
mushrooms.
Oh, the
It's-
mushrooms.
everything here is
the
brilliant.
it looks beautiful.
You have to try. Yeah,
Yeah.
try this. It's
So
amazing.
it's a very simple game. Jochen will ask you questions like cats or dogs, and you will immediately decide. And what would your answer be? Cats or dogs?
Cats.
That's the game.
Yes, got it.
So Jochen has
Is
how
it the
many?
same question for everyone?
No,
No, but some
it's a mix.
So isn't this called the
Some are there
the
for
Proust
7 years
questionnaire?
now.
Yeah.
there are questions in it we never change.
Yeah, some
And-
classics we have.
Yeah, they are classics.
How many questions do you have?
Exactly
for
100.
Margaret?
That's a lot. We'll have to do them very fast.
It's quicker than you think.
Yeah.
And
Correct.
actually, if you don't want to answer one of those 100 questions,
I'll say pass.
exactly. How many
I'll
times?
say, none of your business.
None of your business. You can please do that.
No,
That would be funny. Let's change
No.
the game from now
Please
on.
with that voice.
And,
None of your business.
So we have this rule. It's 10%. So you can say none of your business 10 times.
Who's making up these rules?
Yeah,
We made them up 7 years ago.
they kind of
I'll say none of your business as many times as I wish. Thank you very much.
Always these artists.
Well. all these creative people.
So are you ready to roll?
Let's go.
Okay. Snooze or get up?
Oh, boy. Get up.
Heat or haste?
Probably haste.
Yes or maybe?
Yes, maybe.
To be or not to be?
To be.
You are the referee. Order or chaos? Order or chaos?
Chaos.
Indoors or outdoors?
Outdoors.
God or no God?
Agnostic.
That's none
That's
of your
not
business.
no God.
That's none of your business.
Okay, one.
None of your business.
One.
Sisyphus or Icarus?
Whoa. Is this what I would prefer or what I think I am?
I don't know. Sisyphus or Icarus?
Okay.
Please answer.
I'm thinking
Quickly.
about it. Probably Sisyphus.
Man or woman?
Woman?
Feminist or not?
Maybe.
Christoph?
Depend. We answered that. We did that. We did it quite exhaustively.
None of your business, or you have to decide.
None of your business.
Okay, two.
Mischief land or obedience land?
Mischief land.
Science or literature?
Literature.
Patriarchy or matriarchy?
Blend.
That's a three.
Ideal or real?
Real.
Give up and party or run away?
Give up and party.
Write it down or give up and party?
Write it down.
Serious or popular?
Serious.
Success or respect?
Respect.
Respect or happiness?
Happiness.
Respect or love?
Love.
Guilt or grace?
Grace.
Save or splurge?
Save.
To know or not to know?
To know.
Old or new?
New.
Shame or anger?
Anger.
Spruce budworm or eastern tent caterpillar?
Eastern tent caterpillar.
Dinghy skipper or grizzled skipper?
Who made that up?
You did, by the way. Dinghy skipper or grizzled
I
skipper?
don't think so.
I
yes.
can't explain, sorry. So
You can't explain.
No,
well, let's
I-
just
yeah,
pass
that's
on
not
the
allowed
game.
to do that.
Yeah. We can
Okay, go.
Yeah,
skip that question if you don't really understand.
mandatory vaccination or not?
Yes.
Email or laundry? Email or laundry?
Oh, laundry every time.
Safety or freedom?
Freedom.
Talk or remain silent?
This is about a secret, I take it. Talk.
Money or no money?
Money.
Organic or regional?
Organic.
Wrapped organic cucumber or plastic-free regular cucumber?
That's the most German question we have for you.
It's in there for 7 years now.
Yes, and we love it.
Well, I would think.
Get a lot of emails and photos.
We
of,
don't think they use a lot of pesticides on cucumbers anyway, and you can peel them. So I think I'm probably unwrapped free.
Okay. Vegan sausage or no sausage?
No sausage. Those things are horrible.
Martini or Manhattan?
Don't drink. That's
So is
not
that a
none of your
number?
business. It just means non-applicable.
Thank you. It's number 4.
No, it's not.
So
You're cheating.
Don't argue.
I
What?
I would never argue with Margaret Atwood.
No. So
But it's number 4.
political agent or political football?
Oh, boy. Political agent.
Communism or capitalism?
Capitalism.
Beer or thunderstorm?
Beer or thunderstorm?
Mm-hmm.
Sort of idiotic question is that?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do beer because I hate thunderstorms.
And beers. Washing dishes or drying dishes?
Washing.
Being a writer in the 50s or being a writer in the 70s?
70s.
Being a writer in the 80s or being a writer in the 90s?
80s.
Being a writer in the 90s or being a writer now?
Now,
Being a garage mechanic or being a botanist?
botanist.
Contemplation or action?
Action.
Playfulness or discipline?
Playfulness.
Dispenser of cookies
Yes.
or wicked witch?
You've been reading too much of my writing.
I'm sorry for that.
I'll do dispenser of cookies for now.
Memorial garden or theme park?
Theme park.
Tarot or hand reading?
They're both fun. I'll do hand reading.
The magician or the fool?
Magician.
The moon or the sun?
Moon.
E-reader or not reading at all?
E-reader.
Burned wood or ocean spume?
Probably ocean spume.
Lavender or thyme?
Lavender.
Lavender, yeah.
Lavender, sorry.
Yeah, lavender.
Gasoline or paint?
Paint.
Newspaper without internet or internet without newspaper?
Well, I would go newspaper without internet, but I'm very old.
Luke or Han?
Luke,
Luke or
first
Han?
name, or Han,
What is the
another
reference?
first name.
Actually, you're drinking out of a cup.
Look,
Well, yeah,
if
you can
you have
see.
yeah. It's a bit,
It's a load of male torsos.
yeah.
Luke Skywalker or
Okay.
Han
that.
Solo?
Okay. Oh, Han Solo. Luke is boring. Never mind.
Yeah.
Best answer.
Superman or Spider-Man?
Spider-Man.
Captain America or Bruce Banner?
Bruce.
Arya Stark or Sansa Stark?
Oh, okay. So you're into an area that I'm not very familiar with. But let's say Sansa.
Long-eared owl or great-horned owl?
Long-eared.
Ohio or Ontario?
Ontario.
Toronto or City of Quebec?
If we're looking at the appearance, it would be City of Quebec.
Toronto or Woods of Quebec?
Woods of Quebec.
Tent or log cabin?
Log cabin.
The Handmaid's Tale or the Testaments?
Right now I prefer the Testaments.
Gilead or the US?
Both the same. No, take that back. Take that back. It'll still be the U.S. for now.
Okay.
We started 4.
Lion or Scorpio?
Oh, this is astrological
I don't know.
symbols.
Lion or
yeah,
Scorpio?
Yeah, it is. Well, I'd have to say Scorpio because I am one.
Michelle or Barack?
Michelle.
Melania or Donald?
God, what a choice. Melania.
Melinda or Bill?
Melinda.
Hillary or Bill?
Hillary.
China or USA?
Woo. USA still.
Reagan or Trump?
Reagan.
Trudeau or Carney?
Carney.
X or Substack?
Substack.
Wolf or Joyce?
Woo, what a choice. I think I'd choose Wolf.
Björk or Arca?
I'm not up on pop music, sorry.
Bob Dylan or Joan Baez?
I would take Joan.
Iceland or Canada?
Iceland is very interesting, but I still will take Canada.
Brave New World or 1984?
1984?
Pandemic or meteor strike?
No, you mean the finish of the human
I
race?
have no idea. I'm just reading these words.
Yeah, well, we're not
you
going
have
to do a meteor strike. It's awful. So let's do pandemic.
Okay. Susan Sontag or Gia Tolentino?
By the way, the food is amazing.
Yeah, it's
it's really, really good. Thank you, Studio
Not
Schmaus.
Susan, I'll take the other one.
So it's Gia
Yeah.
Tolentino.
C.S. Lewis or J.R.R. Tolkien?
Tolkien.
Paul Auster or Ian McEwan?
Ian.
Paul Auster or C.D. Hustvedt?
They're both good. I'll take Paul.
Alice Munro or Ursula K. Le Guin?
Oh, boy, they're so different.
As the referee of this game, I'll politely remind you, you still have
Yeah,
a few.
okay. None of your business.
Okay. Trump or Putin?
Oh, boy. Whoa. I'll have to take Trump because he's falling apart and Putin isn't yet.
Okay.
That's
Thank
a
you.
That's a very good
it.
answer. That's the end of the game. We have to talk about the long pen.
All right, sure.
Because
happy to do
we've
that.
been talking
Yes.
about you as a public figure. I'm not allowed to say intellectual anymore for our Canadian listeners, but as a novelist, writer, a wife even, we have talked about that. But you were also an inventor.
A grandmother. You haven't done grandmother.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Margaret.
That's why I'm a dispenser of cookies. Because I do dispense a lot of cookies.
Yes. Do you enjoy being a grandmother?
I love being a grandmother.
What's so great about being a grandmother?
You don't have to do the actual work.
Best answer.
There's a Canadian joke, which is, what does the grandmother say to the mother of the new baby? 4 words. When it's wet, this child is yours.
So what's the story about the long pen?
So the long pen story is, as is often in my life, it begins in ignorance. So I thought it was a time when writers only ever got sent to cities in the U.S. that reported to the New York Times.
Right.
And that meant that a lot of cities never got visits from writers, and a lot of writers never got sent anywhere. So I thought, inspired by the FedEx person who comes to your door and you signed a tablet, I thought, wouldn't it be great if we could sign books remotely and couple it with a video camera of some kind? And then you could do remote book signings in these places that never got any. So I thought, out of ignorance, that when you signed on this tablet, it was flying through the air and it was coming out in ink somewhere else.
But no.
But that was not true. So I said to my more techie-inclined acquaintances, okay, it's not true, but could it be true? And has anybody ever invented this? And they went into it and looked and looked and looked and looked and looked, and we had a patent lawyer who was looking and looking and looking and looking and looking. No, it had never been done. There was something in which at one point writing could appear in a cinema theater on a screen.
Yeah.
But the closest we could come was remote surgery, in which a doctor
so
was
fascinating.
manipulating things on the other end. But no surgeon scribbles.
Hopefully
you
not.
can't scribble on a body. You have to do it very carefully and
Yes,
slowly. So
yes.
that would not work for
Yeah.
signature. So we tried 4 prototypes. One of them blew up, and it was pretty good, actually. It was a disc with a pen in the disc, and it did it very quickly. But it did it so quickly that it blew up, and the disc flew across the room.
Oh,
Anybody hurt? No.
No.
Good.
Just by accident, nobody was hurt. It could
my
have
God.
taken your head off.
Yes, exactly.
So we
James
didn't
Bond
use
type
that.
of moment. Yeah.
We had a big one that was very accurate, but it was not scalable. So we finally came up with a solution that was small enough, totally accurate, and scalable. And we did use that for book signings from places like Japan to Canada, from Australia, from England, from Florida to Toronto. So it worked, and you could have the interview with the writer, and then they could sign books because it had a lift on it, move up and down to accommodate the thickness of the book. But the book trade did not know how to accommodate that. So how do you deploy it? Do you have one in every bookstore? Do you have... So I said to a member of my board, because I had a board.
You had a board?
Yes, it's so official to have a board.
Yeah, it sounds so serious.
This guy was very
impressive.
serious.
CEO.
Very smart accountant. So we were all having hamburgers in an outfit called the Keg in Toronto.
That doesn't sound so...
Beer and hamburgers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Back when I drank beer. And I said, Frank, what else do you think this might be good for? Frank was eating his hamburger, and he said, Mmm. And I said, what was that? He said, everything.
Good answer.
So what it turns out to be good for is people who want to remotely sign high-level contracts. So high security, personal identification, personal verification, biometrics. So we know a lot about signatures by now. That's why you can't use a faxed signature legally, because it's two-dimensional. And forensic signature specialists, of whom we have had some, measure things called lifts and tells, and also pressure. So the signature has to be three-dimensional for them to really analyze it and know that it's yours and not a forgery. So that's what we have ended up doing. And you can find the company on the internet called SYNGRAFII. You can search Long Pen. The Long Pen is the original physical one. We have a whole digital division that uses the same biometrics, the same identity certainty and all of that. And we thought that the physical Long Pen one would just die out. On the contrary, there seems to be quite a demand for it now in certain businesses.
And I think I love that story so much because it shows you as a true inventor of stories, because this is not only a situation, it's also a story. You're thinking of a situation and you're coming up, oh, why don't we do this? Why don't I write about this?
All inventions come from that. So all inventions are created by vacuums. That there's a nothing, and there's a need for something to fill that nothing. So it used to be that in order to sign contracts in person, people would get on planes, they would have to fly, you know about dispatch cases shackled to the wrists of people. So we figure that we've saved really a lot of carbon emissions because people haven't had to get on planes. They also haven't had to send paper documents through the mail. It does mean that the person on the other end is in charge of producing the actual paper, but whoever signs it gets a copy too, so you have it for your records. Anyway, yes, like that, and who knew that it would turn into this thing, having been invented for something quite different.
And Jochen is looking for a question.
There's a really important question. You mentioned in your memoir that there are two beings in every writer. There's the writer.
Yes.
And there's the person going to readings, doing interviews and stuff like that.
That's right.
So
you're
not
taking
the
out
writer
the garbage,
sitting here
washing
with
the
us.
dishes.
So why is that so? So can you elaborate on that?
It has to be so. You can never talk to the writer.
Why not?
Because I'm not writing at this moment.
Well, yeah. If you would be an architect, I could talk to the architect despite the fact that she's not building a house.
No, she'd just be lying.
What do you mean by there two?
The artist and the person doing the day-to-day living are two separate beings.
Yes.
The one doing the day-to-day living is, ironing the shirts or whatever, or doing their garden.
Yeah.
So when I'm doing my garden, I'm a gardener.
Okay.
So our generation were not hippies. We were existentialists. You are what you do.
Sartre.
No kidding. And company.
We talked about it.
I preferred Camus myself.
Uh-huh.
Number one, he was better looking. Never mind. We won't go into that. What a thing to say. Yes, so while I am writing, I am in the writing. Mm-hmm. So you can't talk to the writer because I'm not that person right now.
Mm.
So who are you right now?
Well, I'm shilling for the actual writer.
That's a very good answer.
Yeah.
Are you sometimes surprised that you've become the Margaret Atwood?
Oh, constantly. But so it is. That happens to be reality, and here we are.
Mm.
So I'm not the Margaret Atwood to my family, needless to say. They just think it's kind of funny.
Mm. Do you still write every day?
I never have written every day.
Oh, I read that
You
somewhere.
asked me order or chaos, and no, I think everybody else should write every day, but I've been unable to do that.
Interesting. So what's your routine?
I don't have a routine.
You don't have a routine?
No, I know I should have one.
So if there's a train...
I regret the fact that I don't have a routine, but I'm
it
telling you the
worked out
truth.
okay. I mean,
it worked out okay.
I mean.
Yeah, it's important to do the work, but I do not have to have a cork-lined room. I don't have to have a special pen.
Yeah.
I don't have to have a certain hour of the day. It is what it is.
Are you a good sleeper?
Not anymore. I used to be. But I'm sharing this with you so you won't be surprised when it happens to you as you get older.
Well, I sleep less now than I used to 20 years ago.
Unfortunately, it's true.
Yeah. Do you have any tricks?
Yes, but it's a very funny trick. Would you like to hear it?
Absolutely.
It probably won't work for you. Okay, I go on to a thing called, what is it? Headspace? No, something like that.
Headspace.
Yeah, Headspace.
The app.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You use
it's an app.
Headspace?
Yes, I go to the sleep part.
No way.
Yes, way. And I've tried various ones. I like a certain tone of voice.
Yes.
And the one
so he's famous. His voice is a global phenomenon.
Oh, just a minute. I think we're talking about a different one because they have a number of different narrators.
But there's the one famous narrator on.
So maybe we can listen to the one who's.
Yeah. So I
can you
like
share
one
your
called,
voice with us?
Yeah.
I like one called Roving Mars Buggy. So it takes you on a tour of Mars.
Okay.
It's really boring.
Yeah, and you sleep and fall
And it's
asleep
not
immediately.
Saturn,
yeah,
it's Mars.
just almost immediately. Well, there's one of the moon too, but I've graduated to Mars. Completely impossible.
You have to show. So you have an iPhone, obviously.
Yes. I should
booting.
get rid of it. I'm going to get something called a brick phone. What?
Oh, you switch it off for us. Thank you
I
very
did,
much.
yes.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Now I'm going to switch it on and I'm going to show you this app that I use. I'm not recommending it. I'm just telling you it works for me.
Yeah. If you wake up in the mornings, what time do you usually wake up?
Ça dépend.
Ça dépend?
Yes, it depends.
Yes.
What's happening?
Well, let's say
Whether I have to take a plane at
yeah. Let's say you're at home. You don't have to do any PR for your new
probably
book.
about 7:30.
Mm-hmm. What's the first thing you do?
What is the first thing I do? This is very personal.
Okay. What's the second thing that you do?
The second thing, it's called Headspace.
Yeah,
It is Headspace. Okay, so we're going to go on to
So they
Headspace
used
and
to
we're going
have
to find
one
Roving
voice
Mars
when
Buggy.
I'm really
Wanna hear
curious.
this?
I totally missed the Mars buggy thing.
I've never
It's-
been on Headspace.
Totally new thing.
Okay, we're listening to it now.
Maybe you turn up.
The volume a bit.
There was a time
Oh no, that's
when the planet Mars was just a bright, reddish star in the sky, glimpsed from Earth,
I think you should.
I'm falling asleep
over
now.
265 million miles away. Sure, People dreamed of visiting it. But did anyone really believe that they could be sitting here, as you are now,
Have you ever come to
as
this one?
comfortable
Or
as can be, in a state-of-the-art Mars buggy, gliding
No.
across the surface of that distant planet?
I have to say, I understand. The voice is very
But it's a totally
soothing.
new voice.
Soporific,
It's
yeah.
not the original voice.
Yeah.
May
So,
I-
so when you get up, like at 7:30,
Okay, it depends what I'm doing. If I'm writing a book, I probably have made some notes in the evening. I may have had an interesting dream, and I would probably write that down. Yes, last night I had a very interesting dream, but it's not going to be useful for writing.
Tell us about the dream.
I was in a French theatrical production in which I had to dress up like a large hen.
Like a large
hen.
Yes. Where did
People
that
are
come from?
laughing in the background.
One of you.
Well, you
yes.
can't help the ludicrousness of your dreams.
Do you?
But it was all in
But
French.
what happened?
It was all in French.
Naturellement.
Ah, okay.
Well, because I've just been in France.
Yeah. Do you always remember your dreams?
No, only the important ones or the more ridiculous ones.
Like the hen.
Like the hen, yes. This was going to be a failure as a theater production. I'm just telling you right now.
Okay, so you're writing down the French hen dream.
Yes.
And then what's next?
Well, I would get up. I would go downstairs. I would make some coffee. I would often a friend or a relative might be staying with me. We would have breakfast, or another friend might come over for breakfast, or we might go out for breakfast. And if it's that particular friend, we get bingo cards and
Bingo.
scratch one a day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a very soothing activity.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she's worried about whether we win or not. I'm not too worried about that.
What about writing? So is there
Well, it
time-
depends if
time
I'm
of the-
writing. I mean,
yeah,
there
if you
are
are writing.
stretches of time when I'm not writing anything. So I'm not writing anything on this book tour because
Yeah.
there isn't time.
But you wrote quite some books until today, right? So let's say 60, 70 books.
Yes, but you take my age and you divide it by the number of books, and you can see that it's
So
not that
it's
many a
super
year.
relaxed.
So Georges Simenon was more prolific than me.
But maybe one book per year, right?
Georges?
Hmm?
He published one a year, but
Mhm.
so do I,
Mm-hmm.
more or less.
Yeah.
Some of mine are very short. Of course, most of his were very short.
So that's the secret, right? But you have these bricks also you publish, right? So you have really big books.
You
How-
mean they're
how do-
long with lots of
Size of
pages?
bricks, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, bricks.
So like, how do you do that?
I thought you meant impenetrable.
No.
No.
How do I do that? Well,
Well,
I
look
think you
at
just
the-
keep going at it. But I never did. Yes, I know. Well, it's bigger in German.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
German is
yeah,
always.
it's-
What is it?
It's
I think
always
one
bigger in
third,
German.
1/3 bigger. No.
Yeah, definitely bigger.
The language is so complicated.
Well, English has a very large vocabulary with a lot of very precise words in it.
And it's very direct. No, you
And
can like,
you have to use, therefore, several words in the language of translation
yeah.
to convey the meaning of that word.
Mhm.
So Japanese has words like that too, which usually are about textures or colors. And they will have one word meaning the texture and color of white silk that has been washed in snow and exposed in the sun. And that's what it means, but it's one word.
If I would be a young novelist today, like let's say I'm in my early
You're
20s,
very young
I'm blushing, but if I would be,
from where I stand.
yeah, well, that's okay. I can take that as
You're
an
just
answer.
a baby.
Thank you. If I really would be in my early 20s or, late teens maybe, and I want to be a writer, a novelist, what would your advice be?
Well, some people want to be a novelist, but they don't. But they want to be a novelist without actually writing. So I think it's like wanting to be a pianist. If you really want to be a pianist, you have to practice a lot
So write.
and make a lot of mistakes. So write. I think it was Beckett who said, fail more, fail better. you have to actually do it. And if you look at the juvenilia of anyone, it's always pretty bad. It has something called promise. But I would not want my first novel published. Not good enough, and never mind some of my early poems, which are ludicrous to the extreme. So yeah, write more, throw out, write again, keep going, and that's really the only thing you can do.
Do you think you will be writing forever?
I never make predictions of that kind. There is no forever, just to begin with. We know there's a shelf life. We know how this is going to end. So when you're 20, you don't really think about that. You think that 40 is the end of the line. It's not.
But
105 probably is.
So, but 105 would be...
I don't think I would like to live that long.
No?
No.
Why not?
Well, it depends how decrepit you are at the time.
Of course, yeah. But if it would be like this today, I mean...
Well, I'll just have to drink a little more blood, won't I?
we get into the Gothic.
Now we're into
Gothic
the
side again.
Fußpilz.